I've got to be honest with you fellas, today was not on my Helldivers bingo card, as the long-awaited Killzone collaboration gear is back in the game, and the latest in-game event left us all surprised. Now, what happened and what it could actually do for the future of the game is something we've got to talk about. And yes, as you can hear, my voice is completely borked as I am super sick. Help support the channel by hitting subscribe and ring the notifications bell as we check out what the hell went down today in Helldivers. With everything hitting Helldivers today, this is going to be your rapid fire recap, starting off with our victory march from the successful automaton lava planet missions, and of course with the end of the Python Commandos Warbond, along with today's Killzone Warbond drop. Our reserves are a little bit depleted, so those 55 medals are going to come in handy. Now this starts to get way more interesting when we check out today's success message from Helldivers HQ, as we learned that Operation Free Space, which started back on the bot lava planets, has now entered its implementation phase as HQ has declassified the initiative's ultimate objective, the Star of Peace. Now this is apparently an upgrade to our Helldivers Death Star that is apparently turning it into a beacon capable of projecting Liberty's light across entire planetary systems, and once completed, this should revolutionize freedom as we know it. What could this Star of Peace actually be capable of? I have no earthly idea, although I received some of your DMs trying to clue me in, as this was apparently part of a previous leak, but you know, I'm gonna wait and be surprised. But the entire planetary system thing has me thinking that once upgraded, the DSS will be able to shut down attacks and apply its bonuses to every planet in a sector, not just the one it is currently orbiting, which I think would be a huge upgrade indeed. But seriously, what do you think it is? Drop a comment for all to see, and let's check out what the community has to say on this one. With our success, though, brings another task, which happens to be this year's Festival of Reckoning, where the Helldivers are apparently televising their alien annihilation for all super citizens to witness and enjoy. A bit of an interesting one there, but hey, I mean, we watch Die Hard and have classified that as a Christmas movie, so anything's possible, right? Now, that said, there's apparently so much in the Helldivers coffers that a 3-day celebration would not do this year, so the Ministry of Prosperity has now jacked it up to 14 days, kicking off today and running up through the end of the year, December 31st. Now this essentially boils down to a win more than we lose style of major order, where every planet we take saves our citizens some of their donations, and each time we lose a planet, a patriotic VAT surcharge will be issued to cover the deficit. And according to the Helldivers Companion App, we are already behind the 8-ball, losing a planet earlier today, putting us at a net -1. However, in order to enjoy this year's vengeful festival, their words not mine, we are receiving reckoning gifts to use throughout this year's celebration. So this is going to come to a 5-day major order with some specific kill counts linked to planets and 3 options. Starting off with 200 million bots on Marfark, option 2 is 300 million squid on New Stockholm, and finally option 3 is 400 million bugs on Heath. Now, the planets are important as we dive into the next bit of info coming from Arrowhead concerning the festival itself, which they broke out into a trailer that went live early this morning. You're killing me with these posting times, by the way. Anyways, this is where we got to see what Helldivers HQ had been cooking up for us, and it's pretty unique. So essentially, Arrowhead has gone to the Helldivers meth lab and comboed up some weird stratagems we already have, but they've now added in elemental effects on top of these normal strats. For instance, the 120mm now includes an EMS projectile for stunning targets. By the way, more on that one in a second because that thing is sick. Along with the not yet awarded Gatling barrage with fire projectiles, and somewhere in there we're getting a walking barrage with smoke, which I'm going to assume are coming out a little later in this festival. Now I'm not much on using the walking barrage, but the 120 and Gatling barrage I use a lot because they do significant damage, and once you have all the ship upgrades, both of these come back off of cooldown really fast. Now remember just a few seconds ago when I said that the 120 now comboed with the EMS was sick? Well, We tested this thing out this morning, and instead of replacing one of the normal 120 shells with an EMS shell, it actually drops an EMS shell first, and then it follows it up with 6 normal 120 HE rounds. And it does this for 6 volleys, making this altered 120 last for over 40 seconds in duration. Also, that EMS blast zone looks to be the size of what you get from the normal EMS orbital. So you're getting a massive stun AoE locking everything down in place, and then it drops 6 120 HE rounds down on top of them, and it repeats this for a total of 6 shellings. Again, I already loved the 120 due to its precision, damage, and fast cooldown, but now with the EMS, it's even more deadly because things just get caught up in the stun zones and they can't run away. We'll return to the subject in just a moment, but these altered strats are shaping up to be a huge W for Helldivers, and I can't wait to try out that fiery Gatling barrage as well. But, let's keep things rolling here. And something we touched on last week has also gone live today in the game with the Killzone Legendary Warbond now being on offer, for real this time, in the Acquisition Center. Page 1 has the medium AC-1 dutiful armor and helmet, along with that assault rifle. Page 2 has the accelerator rifle, along with the AC-2 obedient lightweight armor. And page 3 has the SMG. And just to remind you, if you purchased anything from page 1 back when it was live a year ago, you are exempt from the 1,500 super credit price tag to unlock this Warbond. If you only got to page 2 items for free back when they dropped, you will have to pay that entry fee. And anything you already owned, either from page 1 or 2, will show up as already available and unlocked here in this Legendary Warbond, outside of the new 4 skins that you can purchase here for your mech, FRV, extraction shuttle, and drop pod. Now, if you weren't around yet in the game back when Killzone made its first appearance, for instance, maybe you're on Team Green, you're going to be doing this the old-fashioned way by first purchasing the Warbond and then buying each item on the 3 pages using medals. Looking back to last year's Festival of Reckoning, because I've already seen some of your comments out there about this year's festival being light in terms of rewards, and, to just try to compare these two. Anyways, last year we received the Wasp launcher as a permanent stratagem on day 1, which I believe was a free gift from Arrowhead in an attempt to placate the player base, especially after their initial page 1 offerings of the Killzone crossover kind of blew up in their faces. Anyway, along with that, we received temporary access to the orbital napalm barrage, some sort of explosive weapons we got to use on day 2, and I also believe we got to use the Patriot exosuit and gas mines on day 3. Again, if memory serves me correct. This year's festival, though, is 14 days, and I believe from what I've read, these augmented stratagems are again temporary. But it does open up the question of the future. And with this, we're going to open up, of course, a huge can of worms, as we've got this DSS and whatever that upgrade is, along with these cracked comboed stratagems. And I'm also going to throw a third piece into this equation: samples. Now, I'm going to throw a lot of wish list thoughts out here right now, and this is just me speculating. None of this is actually confirmed, but what if we can't keep these new stratagems permanently, but we could use our maxed out samples to temporarily upgrade them? Say our 120s back to these cracked EMS versions. Would that be something you'd be interested in? Because right now, outside of donating to the effects of the DSS, most players are constantly at max or near max on sample counts. We could get a stalwart with medium armor pen for, say, like 3 days if we donate X amount of these kind of samples. Something along those lines, because I'm going to be straight with you, fellas. When Helldivers is trying these funky, out-of-the-blue setups, the game is at its most peak. When we've got something new and powerful to chase after, like back when we had to liberate Tien Quan to get the Patriot mechs, to me, those are the moments when this whole Helldivers live service thing is kind of cranking on all cylinders. Know what I mean? But that's just my thoughts on it all. Killzone is finally back. Combo stratagems are live and in the game, and so far, we seem to be loving them. And I can't help to think that Arrowhead HQ has some extras hidden out of sight, just waiting to spring those on the player base as well. Drop a comment about anything Helldivers related, and of course I'll do my best to respond. Remember to hit subscribe and to ring the notifications bell to receive my future upload alerts. A massive and heartfelt thanks goes out to all of our current channel members for without your support, content like this just isn't possible. And until the next one, this is a very sick 𝗏𝐿𝐵𝘆𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐵𝘀𝐻 signing off.